good afternoon. Welcome to season 4 on Chatbox with Sam. Today we have the lovely Ryan Begay. He's an actor and director. Hello Ryan, please introduce yourself.
Hello. Ja, just a slan in the schnet like Diné, but she's she tots on the Chanel. Hello, I'm Ryan Begay from the Navajo Nation, and yeah, I'm based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and been acting since 2011 in the film industry since '08, and I love it.
That's awesome. So I was introduced to Ryan from Ariel, which is the previous guest on this show, and they both played in Kevin Costner's Horizon. So we're going to talk about that. And would you like to say how you got into the industry, Ryan?
Yeah, I was an engineer before all this, a satellite systems engineer, and I ended up getting my start in the film industry in Colorado, doing production classes and figuring out that way. And then I started working crew in New Mexico, worked my way down there into New Mexico, northern New Mexico, and jumped on crews here and there, directing, writing, and through all that process and networking with people, two of my good buddies, Diego Lopez and Mateo Frazier up there in Espanola, New Mexico, wrote a feature, and they asked me to act in it, and which was surprising because I was a crew guy. I definitely enjoyed working behind the camera and the camera department.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, and they were like, "Come on, man, we wrote you into it. The character's name's Ryan." And so
Which is
they were my
perfect.
great, yeah, right. And so I was like, they're my great buddies. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I said, oh, but I'll audition for it because I was kind of hoping like somebody else would maybe give a better audition.
Right.
But I definitely put my best foot forward for them, and came with it, and they enjoyed it. So that was my first acting role in 2011, and then from there it just kind of just kept it going. And ever since I've just been doing that, jumping in front of the camera and behind the camera, just working on both sides. So it's been super great.
That's awesome. And the language that you were speaking when you first entered the interview room, would you like to explain?
Oh yeah, well, like I said, I'm Diné. I'm now. So out here in Arizona, New Mexico area, that's where I'm from. So yeah, that's the language I was speaking, the Nebazad, and just spoke my clans. It's part of our introductions when you start speaking. Just so anybody watching, it's for anybody. If they're watching from wherever they're at, if they're Navajo,
Right.
Oh yeah, I'm related to him. We're
but I think it's a beautiful language.
But the Nez, the original, what we call ourselves, who we are. And our nation is all around the Four Corners area, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, that whole space there.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of history and a lot of topics for films on why it's lost. So it's a long history of it. Many factors from every family has their story. So it's as to why you speak less and less, why was it handed down. But
you were suppressed in a way. That's why I think by the nation's community.
But there's definitely a resurgence of it. My son, he's in college and he decided to take a Navajo language class. It wasn't my insisting of it. He was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And so that's great. Like our next generation is like there's still an interest in it.
Right.
Because the generation before mine, they were like, we're not going to pass it on because we were treated so bad with it. now there's another generation, a younger generation is like, okay, well, maybe we should just learn it because it's part of who we are.
Right. But yeah, so did you meet Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
I heard he was a lovely gentleman. Ariel said what a lovely gentleman he was.
He's quite amazing. It's yeah, I've told this story many times to like my two buddies, Mateo and Diego, because it's it was their film that got me on this path, and meeting him was just for the first time was actually on set, during a rehearsal, and the whole time it was, and I never felt this way for any of the productions. It was interesting, but I get to my hotel room and I turn the TV on, and the Untouchables comes on, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I know, we're here, I know who I'm working with, and so it was, I'm reading the script over, and like I just turned the volume down on the TV, and then the first day, we're just waiting. We're waiting, we get all, dressed, we're on set, and they're over there working, and you're just like, where's this guy at? And we don't work that first day.
No.
And we're like, okay, well, we'll come back to that scene tomorrow. And so, even more so, it's like, oh man, it's a build up. And it's like, where's this guy at?
Where is he?
And so
Where is he, the star? Yeah. And he's such a nice guy.
He is. He's so great, and the vibe on set was just amazing. Everybody was just having a great time, and we get back on set the next day, and I'm like, as our scene gets closer, they start moving the equipment, and then you like hear him, and you're like, oh man, that sounds like Kevin Costner. He has a distinct voice.
He does. His voice is very distinctive, which is lovely.
And like you hear all the roles that he's been in, and you're like, oh, that sounds like Kevin Costner. And then,
and they've just,
and then you get into the, and I'm like, yeah, and I have to speak Kiowa in this film, and so I'm also focusing on the language. I'm like, okay, get the language right, because it's not my language. And so I'm trying to focus on that. And then, so in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, that sounds like Kevin Costner. I'm like, okay, let me get this lines right. And then they're like, okay, well, Kevin wants you guys to come over and join them for rehearsal. And I'm still not processing it visually. Yeah. And we sit down and do a rehearsal. And I'm like, man, that sounds like Kevin Costner. And then he's like, okay, well, then let's get on set. And we get on set and we do this scene. And the clapboard goes, and I get in my mode, and the scene starts, and I look up, and I'm like, oh damn, that's freaking Kevin Costner. And I'm like, oh,
he's like, oh my god.
And right away that person, and then he comes and sits down, we do the scene together, and I'm just like, I fudge up my lines just completely. And but they didn't tell nobody.
That's nerves. It happens to me too. I did it on a live stream just a few days ago.
And luckily nobody knew because it was in Kiowa. The only guy that knew that I messed up was the Kiowa language guy. Mm-hmm. And so we cut the scene, and I went over and I was like, good. Make sure you tell them that I messed that line up. But
bless you. But did you do a retake?
Oh yeah, we did that scene a few times.
Yeah, he always takes more than once, doesn't he? Take 4.
But it was great. It was great working with him because he was just amazing, and he'd talk with you about the character, not in a very, just casually,
Yeah.
So it was really awesome, and then just to watch him work was just amazing. I sit back and like just watch him do his thing way, from afar, and I'm just like, man, he's just enjoying it, and it makes you enjoy it so much too. Absolutely. I was just like, I was like, This I learned you learn so much just by watching, and it was just
Did you work with
super.
Ariel too?
That was my first time working with Ariel too.
Right.
You know,
He's
and I
such a
got to know.
nice gent.
Oh heck yeah! And it was great because you get to chat with them on the van going to and from set. You get to
Right.
know, and so that was really neat. Just to get to meet everybody because there's so many people that worked on the show too, and yeah, so yeah, it was just a complete blessing to do that.
And Fancy Dance with Lily Gladstone. What a wonderful actress and lady. Everyone's got a high respect for her. I know she went up for an Emmy award. And you were in Fancy
Hmm.
Dance with her. Would you would you like to tell the
Yes,
audience about this wonderful lady and working with her on Fancy Dance? It is on Apple TV. That's coming up soon.
June 21st is when it is coming out. It's select theaters and then it'll be streaming as well. But yeah, that experience too was super great. It's independents are fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
and Lily and Isabel are just their on screen performance were great. And
I
there's
know.
so much heart into this film too. Another language film. They
Yes,
were
I
speaking
know she made a term in there. I can't repeat it, but it meant small mother, like an aunt, another
yeah,
mother, right?
Cayuga, and it's wonderful because that was one of the main points that Erica, the director, um, wanted for this film was the language, and that's um, and it was done really great, really beautifully. Um, and for me too, I was um, like I told the Kiowa guy from Horizon, I told these guys, I was like, hey, I don't want to sound like a Navajo man trying to speak Cayuga. You know, I want the speakers to be like, oh yeah, that guy can speak. He's speaking the language. So I was like, don't be easy on me. Just if I get it wrong, tell me I'm wrong so I can
Mm.
correct it. Lily was great because it was like the first night I got there. They'd been shooting probably like a week before already, or a few days, and I got in there and like we play a brother and sister role,
Hmm.
and it was really interesting because like we like hit it off right away and like got right into it. Um, and so it was fun, and it was very easy to slip into these roles and play off of one another with her because it very much felt familiar, being in
Yeah.
the sets, in the setting, um, being the brother because I do have five sisters myself, so I'm like,
Oops.
when we get to arguing, it's like, okay,
That must have
I've
been
been there.
five
I know
sisters.
this.
Did you need therapy after having five sisters? I
Yeah,
had one,
it
that was
took me.
enough.
But yeah, it was really great, and just to watch him work, and being on these independent sets are so great because you're on location,
Yeah.
and the feel of everything is just amazing. I used to go to Oklahoma quite a bit when I was younger to visit family, and so
Hmm.
being out there again, it was like a blast from the past. I was like, holy smokes, like this feels so. They did such a good job with the set decoration and the art design. I was just like, man, this feels like I've been here before.
You're a producer and director of the Honour Song, and you're honouring the veterans. It's a tribute to the veterans. Would you like to share about
Correct.
that, please?
Yes, this is a really great project that I'm a part of, and it's through the state of New Mexico, and it's called Honor Song. It's a documentary um, that covers the service of Native American veterans of the Southwest, and so it's really about the service of the men and women, these Native American men and women, um, uh, how their culture informs their service. Not just it's not really about any one conflict. It's really about how we served, pre-contact in a sense, up to contact and into World War II, Vietnam, uh, uh,
Full
DAF,
circle.
Iraqi freedom, all that stuff, um, and how we incorporate our culture into our service. So it was really great to hear a lot of these perspectives from the various generations, various era veterans. Um, you know, so the pros and cons of it.
Right.
Why we joined and what did we learn from it.
You've got a project called Rez Ball coming out on Netflix. Would you like to share what that is? That's an
Yes,
interesting title.
yeah, it's Rez Ball. It's for reservation ball, basketball. Um,
Oh, awesome.
it's a basketball film, and
I love
yeah, we call it
basketball.
Rez Ball because of how we play it.
Hmm.
Very fast paced, very a lot of movement, a lot of running, gunning. Um, because and mainly it comes out of just us just a lot of runners, being a lot of runners, also being a little smaller compared to the surrounding schools, where you got to be faster. We don't always match up height wise, so you gotta use your speed and use the skills. So it's very fast paced. So it's called Rez Ball, um, and I play a father to one of the high school kids, and um, and that's mainly what it's about. It follows a group of high school basketball,
Right.
this high school basketball team on their journey towards the championship, and
Yeah.
also what they have to deal with in as a high school student.
Yeah.
Of course, there's all these community topics that are incorporated, and so it's going to be a really great film and really fun.
Is there any part that you've played in a film where you saw your own personality within that role?
Yeah, there was these I don't always play a Navajo man. I mean, every role I do is basically a Navajo man, but um, I did this TV show Dark Winds for AMC, and in the first season, I play a father, and so like these father roles that I've been um, able to do I connect with them so much because I do have a son and a daughter,
Yeah.
and Dark Winds dealt with me having a daughter, and and so that one is something I really connected with, emotionally,
Right.
just, just the themes of that show were heavy for me. And so, um, as a father, I really connected with that. And same with Rez Ball.
Right.
I'm a father to a son, which I'm very familiar with too. And it's when they go away, it's like you call upon that time
Mm.
when they left, when they went to,
College.
started in college.
It's
And
hard
I
not to
really,
relate. It's hard not to
yeah,
feel
yeah,
something for that, isn't it? It's very
yeah.
difficult not to. Yeah.
So and those things those are two roles that I really connected with. And so they were able to really definitely give me more um, kind of yeah, just more relation to the character themselves.
And where can people find that to watch it?
Dark Winds is on AMC, so I think you can watch it on AMC Plus or maybe on Prime.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, season one of Dark Winds,
Hmm.
and brought me back for season two. They're filming season three now. So
That's awesome. How has music influenced your life, and what kind of music do you like to listen to?
I like country music, but I like 90s country.
Right.
Um, uh, yeah, country music has been a big part of my life, growing up. If it wasn't country music, it was either nothing or it was more traditional Navajo songs.
Uh-huh.
So that has a big is a big part of my life. Are these Navajo traditional songs, like the peyote songs, where they're just harmonizing, um, uh, same with the traditional songs. There's a lot of harmonizing. But the peyote songs, they have that fast beat water drum with the rattle. So those are really good. Those are more of the Southwest jams that I get down to out here. But of course, I really enjoy some good powwow music, chord dance songs.
So what kind of food do you make, Ryan? Let's share this.
Well, my buddy, his name's Tim Martinez, and he cooks on a disco, which is just it's like a big wok.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
it's a big, huge disc. They call it disco. And so he does all his cookouts, his camping. He takes that thing everywhere, and he's got like different sizes for different dishes. And we just do an episode where he cooks like some steaks, or he cooks breakfast burritos, or pork, red chili pork, or green chili stew. And these are, he talks about where it came from, the disco, the plow discs, and how they, if it broke off, they would seal off the broken middle portion and then use it to cook on.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of farming that happens up in northern New Mexico. So he uses a lot of the green chili from up north, or he'll use it from down south. And then we'll kind of like talk about it, bring in a little bit of the cultural aspects of the food into it. And I love it because
I love cooking.
he gets down and I film it, and then we get to eat afterwards. It's
the best part, eating it.
Yeah. So good.
That's awesome.
So,
I
he
love
goes
cooking.
hunting. He goes hunting, and so whatever he's able to harvest, he'll turn it into a burger, an elk burger, or just do some steaks.
Yeah.
And it does his own style with his wok, with his disco.
Oh, that's awesome.
We call it the disco dish.
The disco dish. I like it. That's got a beat to it,
Yeah.
You have to have some music playing in the background, just softly.
We do the majority of the filming in his backyard, which is an orchard. There's like apples and peaches and the whole area around his place. There's a huge apple orchard, and then the Rio Grande is like right nearby. And so it's such a beautiful space to film it. So we just take that set and use it to our advantage and just enjoy. I know the mosquitoes also enjoy their meal too.
Darn mosquitoes.
Yeah.
You need to squat it, don't you? You have one of the things up. Zzz, zzz, zzz.
Yeah.
They'll think you're rapping in the background. Zzz, zzz, zzz.
Yeah. It's going to be a light show.
I know, right? If this was the last time you were ever going to speak, it doesn't matter to who, you can choose who, but in your mind, in your soul, if this was the last time you were ever going to say anything, the last chance, what would you say? I've lost your audio.
No, I'm still thinking. Oh, that's not much left.
We'll have to keep that.
I was trying to be like, the last thing I'm going to say is this. But I took a little too long. Enjoy what's in front of you, and enjoy all that the world has to offer. Outside of the man-made things, just enjoy the world itself. Meaning the trees, the animals, the air, the warmth of the sun, the cold of the winter, and how you react to it and how your body reacts to it. It's the senses of life. Enjoy it. Take it all in. Because it's constantly changing, and so you have to just enjoy it when you can. Because we're definitely not here for a long time. And appreciate appreciate all the beauty that's around in this world. Because it's the same in here.
That was beautiful. Have you got any last words? Have you got any questions you'd like to ask, or anything that you'd like to say to the audience that will be watching this?
Seek out films that are written and produced by natives. But also not even that. Who are the actors that are out there now? Because there's in history there's this transition. Like we got started late, and so the idea of what we were supposed to create is passing quickly. But like the language is being lost. The culture is like it's slowly going away, and it's even the look of who we are is fading compared to, like, let's say my grandfather or my uncles. Really strong features. Those features are fading, and so as we create more now, it's going to start changing. It's not going to be what it was supposed to be, because we've missed that part. And now we're only going to have try to recreate what was. So it's interesting. So go back and watch these films from the 70s, and they're very 80s, 90s are probably the most genuine of what was supposed to be native film, because now it's going to change, so they're out there. They're just kind of hard to find. Or if you can find a VHS of it, a lot of it's not even on YouTube. You can find some of them there, but search out the various actors, and look at these other older films, because they're great. There's a lot of great stuff, and that's one of the big things is and share it and talk about it, because I think that's what lacks in native film, the lack of talking about film, and the viewership.
Right.
I think it's something that needs to be improved, and there's not a whole lot of interest in it, because it's more of people not understanding that these films are and stories are here. They have been made, because we're more we know more about it from the bigger films. Right. Kevin Costner, Dance with Wolves, Horizon. So and then Martin Scorsese now. So these films are bringing the interest into these actors, these other well-known native actors. But at the same time, it's like, go deeper and look back into how did they get their start, into what film did they get their start in, and you'd be surprised on what you're going to find with all these other films of the Northwest and the Southeast, on different coasts, all sorts of topics you'll find.
So we're going to look out for Fancy Dance on Apple TV. We're going to look out for Rez Ball, Horizon 2, Kevin Costner's Horizon. And yes. Look out for Ryan Begay. Follow him on Instagram, TikTok, which is awesome that he's on TikTok. That's awesome. He's a trendy father. I love it. And Facebook. So thank you, Ryan, for being on Chatbox with Sam. And please do, if you can bring anybody else in, if you know anyone that would like to be interviewed with me, okay. Please bring them forward for season 4. So thank you very much, Ryan Begay. It's been an honor and a pleasure to talk with you, and it was really nice to meet you today. And please stay in touch with Chatbox with Sam. You have my information.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Stay tuned for the sneak peek from next week's episode of actress Patricia Ray.
So my aunts. So nobody spoke English in the house. So I didn't learn really to have like an English conversation with anyone until I was in kindergarten. But I watched a lot of television, so that really helped stimulate my vocabulary and helped me assimilate, because I would come home and I would speak, I would say all the words that I learned in English from school, and my grandmother would she'd be like, ¿Qué? Háblame en español. My first really big film role, I only spoke Spanish. It was the first time I'd ever acted in Spanish, and Maria Full of Grace, the Oscar-nominated film.
Yes.
And had I not had that background, I wouldn't have been able to been in that movie, because literally I didn't speak one word of English in the movie. And I co-star with John Hurd, the beautiful late John Hurd from Home Alone fame, and he was in so many other wonderful movies. But it was such a gift to work with him. For all you independent filmmakers out there, don't judge the process. Sometimes you can have a movie in the can and still it will take you another 3 or 4 years to actually put the product out onto the market. And a lot of people get discouraged, but oh, absolutely. The cooking channel is actually called Cooking with Patty.
Okay.
That's up on YouTube. And I put little clips of it on Instagram. I got nominated for The Big Wedding. I got nominated for an Amahan Award. And for Maria Full of Grace, I got nominated for an Amahan Award. And The Big Wedding is the film that I was so fortunate enough to do with a huge, star-studded cast. Robert De Niro, Diane Keaton, Susan Sarandon, Robin Williams, Katherine Heigl. Who else was in that? Amanda Seyfried. I played Ben Barnes' mom.
Yeah.
It was just a really, really lovely experience to work with Robert De Niro. I had a lot of scenes with him, and I had scenes with Diane Keaton, because they play the parents of my son, Ben Barnes, because they adopt him. I play a Colombian woman who gives my child up for adoption, because I'm very Catholic and I work for the church. Right. So he raised by these rich white people in America. And they're throwing him this big, huge, Connecticut style wedding with, everything. And they fly me in from Colombia to attend the wedding. And I don't speak a lick of English. And it's very, very funny, because Robin Williams plays the priest. And he
was lovely.
Oh, he was so funny.
Sitting in the stars.